What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. You're now tuned in to the Relationship Theater. I'm your host, Cornell Dane. And here's another conversation for you, something I was thinking about just the other day. And it came about because I was out jogging. I was jogging. It was raining outside, it was below freezing. But I've made this promise to myself for the first 31 days of the new year that I'm going to do several things. One of them is I'm going to jog a mile, just 1 mile every day. And, it's the end of the day. I had to do my mile. And so I'm out jogging my mile. And it just dawns on me that if a job isn't inherently dangerous, painful, if it doesn't hurt, no one calls a man. No one. Not to say that other people can't do painful, inherently dangerous jobs. That's not the point. The point is that men are built for inherently dangerous and painful jobs. And so as I was running, trying to build some sort of mental toughness, some mental fortitude, it just dawned on me that this was a part of the role of being a man. And so, historically, men have been asked to take on roles that involve a certain degree of physical risk and sacrifice. And you're starting to see, at least for me, it feels this way, that men are starting to shun that responsibility. They're starting to turn their noses up to those roles. And I think it's negatively impacting our society. Not to say this is all men, right? That's not my point. But there is a larger contingent of men who don't want to have anything to do with those types of responsibility and that type of accountability. They don't want to be leaned on and depended upon. They don't want to be chiefs. At least the chiefs in role, in terms of their role. Everybody wants to be a chief or called the chiefs. Everybody wants to be the boss and referred to as the boss. But not everybody wants to do what the boss has to do. And so I just feel like there's a shift occurring. And it's a shift that bothers me. It goes back to the conversation that we had previously about I did the best that I could. I think men feel like that they are doing the best that they can. And to be honest, it's not enough. It's not enough. I don't know why we are running away from the sacrifice and the pain. It's almost like we're being programmed to, like I said, shun that responsibility. It's almost like we're being programmed not to be tough enough. And in a moment, in a time where, we just need tough people. We need more tough people on the good side than the bad side. It just seems like the bad side has all the tough guys. We don't have enough men who are interested in raising children. I also see men, not to say that, listen, if it's not your thing, if it's not a part of your vision, I get it. I completely get it. But when I see women being judged for having children, I'm just talking about women being judged for having children and not having a spouse, and there's no additional inquiry. There's not like a second question, like as to why or what's happening or what occurred to create this situation that this woman is now in. It's just automatically she's for the streets. You hear people say that she's for the streets. But this woman could have lost her spouse or husband and overseas in the war. the Iraqi war, Afghanistan war, Afghani war, whatever. She could have lost someone overseas. She could have lost someone in the military. She could have lost someone who was a policeman. She could have lost someone who was doing something inherently dangerous and painful. And we're judging this woman for having a child with someone, and now all of a sudden she fits into one category because her husband or boyfriend or whatever's going on, right, died doing something painful. And we don't have another man to step up and take his place, simply because, not because the men aren't capable, it's because of the judgment behind the woman's situation. That thing bothers me a little bit. A part of this painful and dangerous role that we take, a part of it, if you really think about it, it starts in fatherhood and family. It involves a focus on community. It doesn't mean that every job that we do has this, but at some point, somewhere, the rubber may hit the road and you may have to give up your life as a man. And some of us are trying to avoid that. A lot of us are trying to avoid that. And I just don't think it's possible to continue to push this society forward without some men who are willing to be fathers, elder statesmen, to lead a family and to lay their lives down for the wife and the children, or the women and the children. Something that we're not seeing much of anymore. At least, and a lot of brothers may be angry about this, right? But if you just listen inherently to what a lot of men say, there are a lot of men who are not trying to have a lot of children. Not to say that you should, but not trying to have children. Their primary concern is really behind is really with the sweet parts of relationships, which would be the sex and, you know, the women and how they look. It's a very selfish perspective to have. But a lot of them are trying to somehow figure out the optionality, figure out the flexibility to have their cake and eat it too. And this is, I think, destroying society. It's making it very difficult for us to change things in our communities. And so I just kind of wanted to briefly bring that up. Not sure if that is something that you all have thought about, if you have a take on it. But I'm really concerned about that. I'm really concerned about the fact that men just aren't really as mentally tough as they probably used to be. They're not willing to take on what the men of old used to take on. And I think that's sad. But I digress. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Feel free to like and subscribe. And I will see you all on the next one. Peace.